My boys, Diego Lopes just took the soul out of Gene Silva, and I understand some people might say early stoppage or what, but anybody that is, let me tell you something, like I'm sitting you down like I'm The Rock. You better get the fuck out with that, because Diego Lopes, one of the best upsets of the year. I mean, we saw a lot of upsets tonight. In general, just talking about the card, I'm going over the main card. It's all I got to watch. Today, I'm going to be giving y'all my recap for Noche UFC 2025. I was rushing my ass home from work. I knew it wasn't a great card on paper, but I was rushing the hell home from work, trying to get to see every fight I could, and thankfully I was in time after hauling ass, because I yearned for the fights like Steve yearns for the mines, okay? I got to see every single fight on the main card, and we got to see a lot of knockouts, a lot of upsets, and the Mexican fighters, bro, are back. I understand they're one of the regions that get a lot more shit from fans about kind of lacking the upper tier fighters, but bro, I know that they weren't all ranked tonight, but they went like 5-0, 6-0 if you want to count Diego Lopes, who I don't know if he's more Mexican or Brazilian or whatever the fuck. He's two-faced with it, but it is, no, not like two-faced. Not like two-faced like shit, like the Batman two-faced. That's what I'm saying. But not evil. You know what I'm saying? Today we're going over the Noche UFC 2025 recap. Let's just get into the main event. I mean, I hear Diego Lopes literally just yelling Viva la Mexico in Spanish in the background right now, okay? I literally do. The main event genuinely just finished up. I'm still buzzing from excitement for it, and let's just break it down. It was a pretty short fight relatively, pretty much a 2-round banger, but dude, one of the better fights of this year. Holy actual fuck. And I knew that I should have went with Lopes. I knew that honestly it was probably the smarter pick, but I was looking at that big favorite money. I was looking at Gene Silva. I thought he was the best of the fighting nerds. I thought he could have taken out Volk. I'm not trying to be that guy that was jumping the gun. I didn't think that he was going to become the featherweight GOAT or anything, but I thought that genuinely I rated him higher than Prates, Baraujo, and fucking especially Mauricio Rufy in retrospect. So Silva, he did have good moments in this fight. He really did. He was piecing the fuck out of Lopes in the second round, heavy pressure, but really it seemed like there was an experience gap at the top UFC level. It seemed like there was better fight IQ from Lopes. It seemed like he was the better grappler. And this is what I noticed above fucking all. He was just stronger. I'm not talking like mentally stronger, like it's a fucking mentality Instagram page. Wake up, you're not a white mother. I'm saying that whenever Gene Silva was moving the fuck forward and piecing him up, Lopes took it like a fucking champ and delivered back, okay? Especially in the first round. And in the grappling exchanges that did go down, dude, the strength difference was just so apparent. Because what I was thinking about the whole time, in round one, when Lopes has mount over him for literally half the fucking round, he's beating him up with brutal ground and pound. And Silva, there were multiple times where he just had this burst with all of his strength to try and get up, and he couldn't fucking move. Silva is the king of emoting, but it was Lopes who was just smiling on top of him, okay? Because I mean, he had every fucking reason to smile. And me, somebody who picked Silva, my smile went upside fucking down, because I realized that the same guy that was doing this to Bryce Mitchell, essentially, metaphorically, I'm using it as an example. Silva was tossing around Bryce Mitchell, stuffing most of the takedowns. He was even able to submit him. He looked good in the scrambles. And Mitchell is one of the better grapplers for that division. But Silva was just so strong and was so much bigger than Mitchell. Mitchell moved down to 135 because he was saying, bro, I'm just worried about the strength concerns. I think these guys are stronger up there at 145. That was a terrible Mitchell impression. My point was that Silva was so strong that he made Bryce Mitchell not only question how flat the earth is, but his own strength, and he went down to 135. So that alone was a strength difference. And Silva is much more of a striker than a grappler. So the fact that he did that to Mitchell was very impressive. But Lopes, bro, there's a difference between the top three of the division and then the guys hanging around 11 through 15. Because Lopes was just so strong that even though Silva was able to fucking make the better work in the grappling exchanges, defensively and even offensively against Mitchell, Lopes was just holding him the fuck down. He made Silva immobile on the ground in that first round. And Lopes, man, I understand he didn't exactly land the cleanest takedowns of all things that took him down in the first. It was kind of just low decision-making from Gene Silva. He ended up on bottom, and that's when Lopes took over. And let me tell you, bro, he really took the fuck over. He beat him up like Gene Silva owed him money. I know Gene Silva was trying to talk shit and was mean-mugging him in the build-up and everything, and you could tell Lopes was just calm, cool, and collected through all of it, bro, okay? Because Silva, he was very patient, not patient, Jesus Christ, not patient, but he was very composed throughout a lot of the fight, at least from the walkout until, honestly, the last, minute of the fight when he just fucking went Michael Chandler fight IQ mode, okay, and was just swinging everything he had left. Lopes was just showing better fight IQ, better top 3 experience. He was the stronger athlete. He's just as good of a striker as Gene Silva, so he was able to hang in the pocket, land power shot for power shot, blow for blow. And Lopes was just the better grappler and the better well-rounded fighter. Once we got to the second round, I mean, you want to argue maybe a 10-8 for Lopes, a 10-9 for Lopes, whatever the fuck it is, but Lopes won that first round. And in the second, man, Silva was landing like he was pretty much outstriking Lopes by doubling him on significant strikes. He was piecing him the fuck up. He was throwing wild shit as well, spinning back elbows and then a 1-2 and then a left hook, and he's just cracking him over and over. But Lopes wasn't really shook. I mean, Silva landed damn near 40 shots within the first couple of minutes of that round, but Lopes took it like a fucking champ. And before I get to the finish, I just want to say this because there's only going to be maybe 5% of y'all that get this reference. I'll make it quick though. In Dragon Ball, bro, if y'all know fucking Dragon Ball, there's this thing called Ultra Ego. And what essentially it is in layman's terms is that you have all the power you need in the fucking world, but it comes with the catch, and the catch is that you just move the fuck forward no matter what. You don't have any sense of damage or risk taking. You just go. You're all pressure. You move the fuck forward and you just beat the fuck out of the other dude. And that's what Lopes is. He doesn't overthink things. He doesn't worry about his chin. He just is here and then he's in the pocket. When Silva was coming the fuck at him, Lopes did not back down. It wasn't like he had to move on the back foot or get back to the center of the cage. Lopes just took it. Shot for shot, blow for blow, and then delivered something of his own. And yes, he didn't outland him in the second round, but essentially he was holding in his own to where he was moving the fuck forward, took Silva's biggest shots, even though he was getting outstruck, and pieced the hell up. And then he had a devastating spinning elbow, I believe it was, when Silva was coming in, because that last 30 seconds of the fight, the last minute of the fight, Silva, for as good as he was looking in that round, he just threw fight IQ out the fucking window, okay? He was on the ground for a minute there. He was clearly uncomfortable. Once they shot back up to their feet, and he was just spamming everything that he fucking had in him, and it just came up short. He threw fight IQ out the window. He threw game plan out the window. The composure that we saw out of him for most of the fight, even when he was getting beat up, was just gone. And Lopes capitalized on it, man. Goddamn brutal finish to watch. I'm still buzzing with the energy. Love to see it. I had Silva winning, and I'm a Fighting Nerds fan, but honestly, I gotta love to see this from Lopes, man. Truly deserves the win, and he held it down for the top 3. Showed that he's the more well-rounded fighter. He can absolutely show off the fucking Ultra Ego. He can bring the power shots and fucking take it. The grappling was showed off in this fight, and he's just a strong, well-rounded athlete, man. Good for Lopes. All due respect, the Mexicans and the half-Mexicans here in Lopes were 6-0, okay? But moving on up next, speaking of the Mexicans themselves, I mean, it's hard not to. It's the whole fucking card, basically. I don't know why I'm talking about like it's a rare fucking thing. It's literally Noche UFC. I'm sorry. David Martinez beating Rob Font. Okay, this was a pretty solid fight. It wasn't anything too crazy. A bit of stinker moments more than others, but honestly, it was pretty solid to watch. And David Martinez went from, I'm sure me and a lot of other people in the MMA community, okay, this is what I was saying at least. I heard this as well. Oh, how is Rob Font only a -130 favorite? Oh, Rob Font, he's beating the Gene Matsumotos and the Kyler Phillips, and he's only lost to the very elite. Rob Font, he's the S-tier gatekeeper. We were saying shit like this, okay? A-tier gatekeeper maybe. But Rob Font, man, yes, he's had his fair share of losses, but he's been able to hold down his spot in the top 10 forever. But it goes to show, man, basically the new generation, man, it's like some One Piece shit. They're taking the fuck over. But for David Martinez, man, 13-1, only 2-0 in the UFC, 3-0 if you want to count contenders. But man, he was piecing up Rob Font. Rob Font, I rate highly. Not too highly. Around that 8 to 10 range in the rankings. But man, he's fucking good. He's been working with Sahabi. I'm not saying that makes or breaks a fighter, but he's been working with Sahabi. Showed improvements in his past couple of fights. He obviously still hits fucking hard. He landed the biggest shot of the fight, but it was just David Martinez was outstriking him, piecing him the hell up, and he has really good leg kicks, man. He was landing clean to the body, clean to the head, clean to the legs of Robbie Font. And overall, he's just a very dynamic, fast as fuck striker. Font, you could tell, was the more powerful striker, but Martinez had so much output, volume, pressure, and was just the faster fighter to where, yeah, man, I honestly was worried. Before the second half of the third round, I'm like, honestly, this is a pretty fucking close fight, but Martinez really fucking carried through. He really fucking made sure, okay, this fight's 1-1. I gotta do what I can to fucking win. I'm pretty sure his dad is his coach, and he told him in between rounds, like, go out there and take this guy's fucking head off. David Martinez, man, man. It's somebody who's pretty relatively unknown, but this is a big statement for him. And honestly, as much as I like Rob Font, I'm not super fucking attached or anything like that. And I do want to say that it is nice for a division like bantamweight. Remember, Rob is literally lapping the division. It's nice to have guys like David Martinez, who, yes, they're young and pretty raw and green, but it is nice to have new names in the mix, new names in the division. If Merab keeps on winning, I mean, honestly, with the state of the division, if Martinez won like one or two more, don't be fucking surprised if he got a title shot or something. Way easier said than done, though. Yes, beating Rob Font is a really crazy thing to do for a second UFC fight, stepping up like a short relatively notice because you were supposed to open up the main card against Quang Lee, and now you're taking out Rob Font, you know what I'm saying? So great win for David Martinez. I'm curious what he'll do with a more prepared mindset and prepared attitude for these top 10 guys, because he performed good tonight, man. I feel like at the end, I understand, I've never seen someone like this, but they, like, the referee, I think it was Dan Bergliotta, whatever the fuck. I'm sounding like Ratatouille, but he literally couldn't stop the fight. They just didn't hear the buzzer. Martinez, as he was pointing to the ground, he was piecing up Rob Font, rocked him, and finally was landing a bunch of ground and pound. The ref just wasn't stopping the fight. So there was about an extra 5 fucking seconds where Martinez was just unloading on him, because apparently everybody thought that the fight was over except for the actual ref himself and the 2 fucking fighters. Unfortunately, so that was the only kind of just bizarre thing about the fight, but overall, solid co-main. And David Martinez, man, mixing things up at bantamweight. Very dynamic, quick as fuck striker. Curious how his ground game is, but Rob Font, man, when he was trying to mix it up in the clinch and he was shooting takedowns, like, David Martinez was stuffing most of them, and he was able to look good in the clinch. So honestly, we could see a little bit of a well-rounded athlete here. I'm not sure how he does in the grappling against guys like Marab or Umar or shit like that, but you know what I'm saying. Nice to have some new blood, and it was a solid fight. I feel bad for Rob Font, but obviously he's been here before, man. He's a gatekeeper for a fucking reason. You know what I mean? So wish he threw a little bit more output and wish he followed up more in the first round when he did actually rock Martinez, but it is what it is, all right? I still tip my Ben Askren Frody out of respect. Moving on up next, and this one kind of breaks my heart, because apparently Jared Gordon, this is the fight I'm about to talk about, versus Rafa Garcia. He got hit by a car yesterday. That's what Bilal Muhammad said. Hey, you know, this guy, I got to give my respect to him. You know, he got hit by a fucking car, and then he went out there and got knocked out by Rafa Garcia, you know? And speaking of, I'm the best striker in the UFC. Like, Bilal Muhammad of all people. And it was so funny, because then looking at the comments, everyone was just shitting on Gordon and Bilal. And anything that Bilal touches, obviously, is just cursed, because I didn't think Gordon was that disliked. I feel like Gordon is one of the more people forget, man, kind of fighters. But if that's true, if that's true, and he genuinely got hit by a fucking car, I mean, I probably should not have taken the fight, man, because I feel like he was out striking Garcia in the second, and he did look solid in the first, but ultimately, man, he wasn't landing with a lot of devastation, wasn't landing with a lot of power. He was connecting, he was landing a decent amount of volume, but I feel like that the full force and the full extent of Jared Gordon usually getting the fuck after it wasn't on display tonight. Like, Rafa Garcia, especially halfway through the fight, made proper adjustments. He was kind of getting rocked here and there, and he was kind of getting pieced up. I think a lot of people had him win in the first round, but in general, it was a close fight until Garcia made the adjustments to try and mix it up with the grappling more, switch to elbows because it just wasn't working out in the pocket. Gordon was piecing him the fuck up. That was his bread and butter. So when Garcia was able to mix things up, adjust to the grappling, and was able to mix in elbows, it worked out for him, and obviously got a brutal fucking finish. Gordon was pretty much flatlined. He did survive. There was a moment, too, where he had a close submission attempt sometime in the fight, and he fucking pulled through, okay? He was not trying to see the pearly gates tonight. But then in the third round, even though he got out of a submission, he was still getting beat the fuck up with brutal ground and pound, and it was just too much. Jared Gordon, a lot of people were saying, oh, he was just going to be 2 levels ahead of Rafa Garcia. Rafa Garcia is a jobber and a jabroni at the goddamn division. The Rock would be spitting on his boots. But overall, Jared Gordon, hey, people forget, man, this guy only lost to Paddy Pimblett, and he beat Nasrat Haksarops, and he got robbed. And I understand that Jared Gordon has been full of just robberies, but it's unfortunate here because he didn't even make it to the judges' scorecards, man. I fuck with Jared Gordon. I fuck with the story. I fuck with his fighting style. I think he's got robbed a lot throughout his career. That's why it hurts to see Garcia get this one done, but Mexicans get it done once again. It was nice to see the improvements from Garcia, kind of proving that he's a more kind of above than that jobber level that we thought he was at. So curious what he does next. Kelvin Gastelum versus Dustin Stolzfus up next. This fight was deceptively very close. Like, it seemed like it was a pretty unanimous way for Kelvin Gastelum, but I was sweating a little bit on the scorecards. I did ass with picks. I did New Day Bootios with fucking picks tonight, okay? I don't know what the specific number was, but I'm pretty sure I got like 50% of the picks right and 50% wrong. It was rough. So Kelvin Gastelum was one of my picks in my mind I thought was a lock. So when I saw the judges' scorecards, and I know Dustin Stolzfus won at least a round, and I know he had some big moments and was able to survive, even though Kelvin was dropping him and shit, I was fucking worried. But Kelvin Gastelum, people forget, man. Joe Rogan's former favorite fighter. He was able to hold his own. He was able to do enough to get this one done. Me personally, I did have it 29-28 for Gastelum. That's how I saw it. But the fight was close. It was competitive. Kelvin was landing clean with that left hand, man. Like when these guys were getting in the pocket, Kelvin Gastelum was cracking him. He even dropped him once, like I said. So Kelvin got a knockdown in. But Stolzfus technically outstruck him. And he was kind of piecing him up. He was kind of mixing in the grappling here and there. But Gastelum overall was pretty, he seemed like the stronger fighter. I mean, he's definitely the fatter fucking fighter. Jesus. The whole missing weight, once again, it's just not even a surprise. If there's any things that are guaranteed in this life, my boys, you don't know what tomorrow brings. You don't know what awaits at death's doors. And that you know that Kelvin Gastelum is gonna fucking miss weight. He's gonna have fucking Pizza Hut in his hand. Jesus. But he's still here. He's still in the UFC. He's still got his fucking contract. Gastelum even mentioned, I think at one point during fight week, like, oh, I kind of am interested in making a move back to welterweight. Son, move up to fucking light heavyweight at this point, because missing middleweight multiple times, like against D-Rod and now here against Stolzfus, it should be mentioned. It is unfortunate for these other fighters. I know he does lose like a third of his purse, but still, you know what I mean, man. So Gastelum, he did look good. He looked good holding his own in the scrambles and the defensive grappling, and he was kind of piecing up Stolzfus on the feet, landed the bigger, harder, more powerful shots. But it was a close fight. Wasn't anything too crazy, but round 2 was pretty fucking entertaining, I believe. And in general, good to see Kelvin Gastelum. He's able to beat these guys like Stolzfus and like Chris Curtis and like D-Rod. He's able to beat the guys lingering around the end of the rankings, but Kelvin Gastelum compared to the top 10, they're beating the fuck out of him. You know what I mean? So moving on next to Alexander Hernandez versus Diego Ferreira. I mean, Christ, with another one of these knockouts for the Mexican fighters, bro, or whatever the hell, USA. He's a San Antonio fighter. I know that at the very least. San Antonio was loving Hernandez. That was his hometown, whatever the fuck it is. And I mean, Jesus, Diego Ferreira, I feel for him. I thought that this was a very crafty pick by me. I thought that I was pushing on my people forget, man, hardcore glasses. And no, I was just fucking mental. I was just mentally ill because Ferreira did look good. I feel like he was winning a majority of the fight. He definitely was the heavier pressure fighter. He was piecing up Hernandez, but the problem was he wasn't exactly piecing him up. I say that, but he was missing a lot of the big shots that I feel like if he just landed even a couple of those, the fight would have went a lot more his way. Maybe Hernandez even could have got finished, but the striking numbers were so close, even though Ferreira was throwing twice as much as Hernandez, but Hernandez was just kind of on the back foot for a lot of the fight. Kind of seemed like he was just waiting to find the right shot. And he did just that. He found the right fucking shot in round 2, clearly, Jesus. But for Diego Ferreira, he was trying to get the fuck after it. I feel like he was winning a majority of the fight. He was piecing up Hernandez, but he was missing so many of the big shots he was landing. And I feel like that might be due to the old age. Like, he just looked like the slower fighter in there. And it seemed like Hernandez clearly hit fucking harder. So, sucks to see for Ferreira. He was kind of one of these, like, crafty picks, again, where it's like, this guy beat Rebecca, and he just flatlined Michael Johnson, and this guy made it close against fucking Mateusz Gamrot, and now, you know, Alexander Hernandez. Seriously, he might be like getting a ranked opponent extra one away from it, because knocking out Chase Hooper and then knocking out Ferreira back-to-back within a month, and I believe he's on a pretty solid win streak in general in terms of lengths right now anyways, it might be time for a ranked opponent next for Hernandez, or maybe one more, you know what I mean? And he's proven at the UFC level that he's more than kind of just that jobber level that people were kind of painting him as. I know that a lot of people know that Hernandez is good, but honestly, you look at that 18-8 record, he has a lot of losses, and I don't think everyone thought that Hernandez was going to be the next like top 10 guy, but honestly, he's putting forward a little bit of a fucking streak here against some solid names, so who the hell knows with Hernandez, okay? He was on the back foot for a lot of this fight, but obviously things worked the fuck out. Crazy knockout. Moving on to next to what opened up the main card. This is the fight that I'm like, I wasn't exactly looking forward to it. Like, I was on the car ride home from work, and I'm like, who is Luna even fighting? Like, I couldn't even remember, but I wanted to get home to at least see the main card, and I'm glad I fucking did, because this fight, it was only 2 minutes and 50 seconds, basically, but it was a barn burner. It was a banger. Quietly, immediately, I believe it was in the first minute, Roxian Tolugu, he's piecing him up. He gets a knockdown in, I believe, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, okay, here we go with another prospect. He's like 6-0, getting rushed to the UFC too fast, big main event spot, okay. But Luna, man, this guy is a fucking dog. I barely knew anything about him before seeing this fight, but the fact that he's able to go in there and he's able to hold his own, stay composed, survive the storm, gets back up to his feet, and then all of a sudden, I mean, Quietly, there was a solid chunk of the fight where he was just all pressure and was just beating the fuck out of Luna, but Luna survived, and then these guys were getting scrappy with it, getting in the pocket, and Luna lands nice fucking combinations of his own, and is able to get a sick as fuck round 1 knockout in. It was crazy timing too. Perfect timing, perfect rhyming type shit, because literally the crowd chanted. I don't know what the fuck I just did, because the crowd chanted, "Let's go, Luna," and all of a sudden this guy goes, "Oh, say less." And then he just knocks him out. So crazy to see from Luna. Very young prospect. He's only like 21 years old, so he's far from Unk status. Curious what they do with him next. I don't know much about the grappling game. And again, he clearly can get caught. He can get kind of exposed in these dangerous exchanges on the feet here, but the fact is he held through. Commentary kept saying, "Oh, it doesn't get any better than that." I mean, technically it kind of does. Like, he did have to deal with a bit of adversity, but honestly, I feel like that made the win better. Like, I wouldn't be as hyped or invested now in Santiago fucking Luna if I didn't have to go through that emotional up and down, that emotional roller coaster watching that fight. But now I know Luna's a dog. He can survive. He can get scrappy with it. And maybe the lack of experience and maybe just the lack of taking all these big shots and getting into wars has made his chin, pretty fucking durable. He hasn't had all this fucking war-torn BSD experience. So, in general, man, that's going to be it for the recap here. It was a good main card. I barely saw shit about the prelims. I mean, looking at it right now, it doesn't look like anything too significant went down. We got a couple of finishes. I saw people complaining online about the fucking Tatiana Suarez decision. I saw Dumas versus Reese ended in a no contest. I don't know what happened with that. I gotta fucking look, okay? But in general, man, did pretty rough with picks tonight. It's not my best moment, but I'm hoping that we're eating good from here on out with the picks, because we're eating good in terms of cards. It's the Last Supper coming up, because Perth and then October, and then we have the MSG card and guitar. We're eating good these next couple of months, boys. But Noche UFC, man, wasn't the craziest card on paper, but honestly, it went above and beyond the expectations. These guys brought it. We had a lot of fun back and forth fights and some pretty solid, brutal finishes. All right, so thank you guys so very much for making this far in the video. Give me your time and attention. I really appreciate it. So this was the recap for Noche UFC. Let me know what you think in the comments below. All the smoke here. Appreciate y'all, and I will see you all next time.